more than 100 projectiles were fired into Israel by Hezbollah. This comes after Israel hit about 180 Hezbollah targets inside Lebanon on Saturday. We want to show you the moment a projectile hit the town of Kiryat Bialik in Israel near Haifa. It caused fires and left at least 4 people injured.
Now, Israel is responding by striking more Hezbollah targets today, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is delaying his trip to the UN General Assembly, which starts Tuesday. U.S. officials, meanwhile, are warning that the possibility of this escalating further is real, and the U.S. Embassy in Beirut is urging Americans to leave Lebanon. Our Ben Wiedemann is live in Beirut for us this morning. Ben, things only seem to be escalating. What's the latest?
They definitely are escalating, Danny. Just after midnight here, local time, Hezbollah launched the first of 3 major volleys of medium-range missiles in the direction of Israel. Instead, this is in response to the strikes on Lebanon since last Tuesday, the pager strikes, the walkie-talkie strikes, and Friday's Israeli airstrike on southern Beirut that have left almost 100 Lebanese dead and thousands wounded. Now, they said their target was the Ramat David Israeli Air Base, as well as the Rafael Advanced Defense Systems facility in Haifa. However, it doesn't appear that the missiles reached quite that far, and most of them were intercepted. But we are seeing that there were some direct hits. According to the Israeli Medical Services, as many as 10 people have been admitted to hospital as a result. Now, Hezbollah used what are being called the Fadi-1 and the Fadi-2 medium-range missiles. This is the first time they've used missiles like this before, and they've reached further into Israel than anything that has been fired since the beginning of hostilities in October. Now, as far as what's happening on the Lebanese side, the official news agency here is reporting that there have been at least 60 Israeli airstrikes on southern Lebanon. There have been more than 300 in the last 24 hours. Now, the UN Special Coordinator for Lebanon has put out a statement warning that the region is on the brink of what she calls imminent catastrophe, stressing that there is no military solution to the situation that will make either side safe. Now, in the meantime, the U.S. government has advised, rather the U.S. Embassy here in Lebanon has advised all Americans currently in Lebanon to leave immediately while flights are still available, and others who might be planning to come here not to come. Danny?
Ben Wiedemann, thank you very much for that report. Joining me now for more on this is CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier. Kim, Israel's recent strikes have targeted Hezbollah's infrastructure and offensive capabilities. We saw that with the pager attacks. We saw that with the walkie-talkies. But Hezbollah has still managed to strike inside of Israel. What is your take on these escalating moves?
Well, Hezbollah does have an estimated 150,000 rockets and missiles pointed south. And the Israeli Defense Forces have said that the strikes they've carried out have been at, quote, rockets or missiles that are primed to fire. So I think you're going to see an extended period of Hezbollah and Israel trading airstrikes. At this point, Hezbollah's command is in disarray because of those pager and walkie-talkie strikes that have been blamed on Israel, because they took out so many of their top decision makers, but also because they made everyone in the rank and file afraid to use anything electronic. So that slows down communications. But thus far, these strikes that Hezbollah has been launching into Israel have still been targeted at military targets or that weapons manufacturing site that apparently was targeted but not hit. They could choose to hit civilian areas, but they're not. So there is another dial that they could ramp up. So far, they're holding fire and Israel's doing the same.
But I guess, Kim, we were speaking with an expert yesterday about this continuing week of escalation, right, between Israel and Hezbollah. And the person that we spoke with yesterday said that Prime Minister Netanyahu is doing this or has been doing this in part to try and act as a deterrence, basically, to Hezbollah. And yet now we're seeing these volleys, as you're describing. So I'll just ask, how concerned are you about an all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah?
Well, there are a couple of factors that keep us from getting into an all-out war situation. The Israeli military is very tired. Doing a 2006-style invasion of southern Lebanon means committing a lot of troops on the ground. And of course, they would be going after a bunch of these hidden weapon sites. But I've had Israeli officials brief me on the fact that those weapon sites are deep inside villages and towns, populated areas. That is a labor-intensive exercise for troops that are already tired from 10 months on the ground in Gaza. And from Hezbollah's point of view, if they dial that lever up and strike populated areas in Israel, that's the worst they can do. And that capability, it's believed, is being reserved for Iran's use. If Iran gets hit by a massive Israeli strike, then Iran, which supplied much of that weapons and that technology to Hezbollah, is supposed to be saying, okay, now you can really unleash everything. That's why I think, it sounds strange for me to say that each side is holding their fire, but each side is, for the most part, trying to target military targets when it could be a lot worse.
Last thing, Kim, quickly, is when you see what's happened over the past 72 hours and the greater part of the last week, how does this escalation in your mind with Hezbollah realistically affect the chances of a hostage deal or a ceasefire when it comes to Gaza?
Well, I think Secretary of State Blinken spoke to that this past week in Cairo. He said every time it seems like they're close to resolving the situation and getting a ceasefire, something happens. In this case, it was the pagers blowing up. Some have cynically said it seems like Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want to hand the Biden administration the victory of a ceasefire and many of the Israeli hostages coming home, because Netanyahu is waiting for a possible Trump administration win in the upcoming U.S. presidential election.
Kim Dozier, thank you very much for your perspective and analysis this morning. Appreciate it.